Spectacular sights on holiday nights. The Southern Lights are on.
Celebrate the season nightly at the Kentucky Horse Park. Now through December 31st. Excludes Christmas Day.
Spectacular sights on holiday nights.
Over 1 million twinkling lights will dazzle your family. Be sure to leave time to visit the all-new Holiday Village.
Presented by Friends of Coal. Don't miss it.
The Southern Lights are on.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Watch Monday Munchies every Monday on High Noon with Doug and Lisa High. Brought to you by Zucker.
Hi, this is Todd with Haas & Haas Properties, and we buy houses for cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call us at 859-888-2200. We can pay cash and close in as little as 10 days. We buy houses in any condition and any price range in Fayette and surrounding counties. If you own property and want to sell it fast, call us today at 859-888-2200. That's 859-888-2200.
Cheerio and welcome to London. In a historic event, the University of Kentucky Wildcats are going to be playing right here where I'm standing in front of, live at the O2 Arena. What are you doing?
Checking out the green wall. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're doing that thing where you pretend you're in London again?
It's a thing I do.
Okay, he's not really there, guys. We're not there. But you know who is there? UK, baby. And what's starting right now is our solid blue coverage. Enjoy. Go Cats.
Tally ho.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Solid Blue Preview. I'm Jeff Picoro, and it's a real pleasure for us at ABC 36 to bring you college basketball, specifically our own Kentucky Wildcats as they take on the University of Michigan in London, England. In this hour, you'll hear from Coach Orlando Antigua, 3 sports writers who have really interesting things to say about this year's team and what next year holds. We also have a sit-down with one of our favorite Wildcats, number 34, Kenny Skywalker. How would his 1984 team match up with this year's Cats? Well, the basketball season is a month old. Kentucky has played 7 games, and to this point, they're 5-2 on the year. It's time now for us to break it down game by game, and for that, let's bring in Sarah Cardona. And Sarah, the Cats just 5-2 on the season so far.
Yeah, definitely. And this team, Jeff, has not lived up to those early expectations with losses to Michigan State and then Gonzaga. However, the team did enter the season ranked 4th in the AP Top 25 poll. The Cats opened up the season against Howard. However, they were without reigning National Player of the Year Oscar Tshiebwe, All-SEC point guard Severe Wheeler, and Damian Collins. Now, Tshiebwe and Wheeler were recovering from injuries while Collins was dealing with the tragic passing of his father. Despite being down 3 of their top players, the Cats cruised by the Bison. Freshman Cason Wallace put his skills on full display for BBN. In his first collegiate game, Wallace almost posted a triple-double, finishing with 15 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds. After the game, head coach John Calipari had this to say about his star freshman.
I thought he did good. He had triple-double. Like, a couple more rebounds. Come on, kid. And he's a triple-double. Who's the last guy to do a triple-double for me? Who? Briscoe and Fox. He's doing good. The biggest thing is we're doing it without post presence right now.
I couldn't imagine this, this was a lot. This is great, but I'm just coming out, playing my best game every game, so that's how the dice roll.
Now, for the Cats' second game of the season, it was a bit more challenging than the first. The Cats took on a pretty good Duquesne team that did not back down. And in this game, it was UK's bench with Severe Wheeler and Ugonna Ayenso that provided a spark for the Cats. Ugonna had 10 points and 4 blocks, while Wheeler finished with 11 points, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds in his season debut.
It was great. It's a lot of fun. Just happy to play basketball again, for real this time, it counts on the record books. We'll get back in front of our great fans. And just to get another W in the W column was great.
He speeds the game up for us. It makes it a lot easier for us as a whole. because he could get downhill, dish it out to our shooters who can make shots, and just he looks for the open guy. So it's definitely enjoyable for him to be back.
For the Cats' first road game of the season, they traveled up to Indianapolis to take on a very physical and aggressive Michigan State team that had only lost to Gonzaga by 1 point. It was also Oscar Tshiebwe's season debut. And while Tshiebwe was dominant all night long, he was fouled out in the opening overtime period, which cracked the door for the Spartans to own the second OT. MSU outscored UK 15-6 in the final extra period, and they went on to defeat Kentucky 86-77. The loss was a result of terrible late game execution, stagnant offense, and defensive breakdowns down the stretch. Here's what Coach Cal had to say after the loss.
I thought these guys fought like heck. When you talk about late game situation, that's on me as a coach. Let's go. Let's figure this out. Now, I come back and say we just haven't been together to do it. We haven't had our team together. But we got a lot of stuff to figure out. We really do. And but I like this team. I like us defensively. I like us rebounding. I like us shooting, playmaking. A lot of good stuff. We weren't ready, and I told everybody we're not ready for teams that are ready to finish off the end of a game. We're not. And that's on me.
After struggling offensively and defensively down the stretch against Michigan State, the Cats used their game against South Carolina State to get better. This was a game in which everybody got in on the fun as 12 different Wildcats scored and 5 players finished in double figures. C.J. Frederick led Kentucky with 17 points after only knocking down 2 shots against Michigan State. Star freshmen Kaysen Wallace and Chris Livingston continued to impress. They combined for 25 points, and then Lance Ware added 12 points of his own.
We needed to make shots today. You know, we made only how many threes up there. Today we made shots. We only took 24, but we made shots, and you need that going into that game. But there's going to be a lot of, they're going to be a lion right now because they just lost at Texas. So this will be a hard game for us to win. This is the great thing about November, trying to learn about your team. And I still am learning about my team. But I like the group. I liked them after Michigan State.
Kentucky's biggest test of the season was taking on the second-ranked team in the country at the time. The Cats got off to a slow start and were never able to catch up. They trailed the entire game and were down by as much as 18 points in the first half. They ended the night shooting just 39% from the field and 24% from 3, while being out-rebounded 39-29. Here's what senior Jacob Toppin had to say after another disappointing loss.
I don't want to speak for any guys, but in some moments guys can't step up. But we, like me included, I didn't make shots in the first half at all. I didn't rebound. I got to be better. My teammates got to be better. We all got to be better. So you can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, we're going to put this on ourselves just to be better.
The Cats got back into the win column against North Florida, and in this game, we saw Kentucky make improvements on both ends of the court. Offensively, the Cats shared the ball well and finished the night with 23 assists on 35 made field goals, and that resulted in them knocking down 9 three-pointers. The Cats also got a huge boost from Jacob Toppin and Antonio Reeves, who led Kentucky with 20 points each, while Oscar Tshiebwe recorded his 31st career double-double.
Everybody was sharing the ball with one another and get wide open shots. And it was also like dribble drives and things like that we did as well that opened up the floor. And then Oscar too, Oscar down there making plays for one another. Yeah, like 5 assists this game. So, yeah, definitely opened up a lot.
We were sharing the ball. We played our game of basketball, which is finding a pace, sharing the ball, moving the ball, playing inside out through Oscar, finding ways to just get open shots and make them.
And in this past Tuesday, Kentucky was back at Rupp Arena to take on in-state opponent Bellarmine, who took down Louisville earlier in the season. And for Kentucky, it was a tale of 2 halves. The first half, Kentucky put on their worst offensive performance of the season, scoring just 21 points. However, midway through the second half, Kentucky's offense began to click. They went on a 12-0 run down the stretch and would go on to win by 21 points. Kentucky shot just 41% from the field and 31% from three.
I like what we did in the second half, 3 turnovers, playing fast, grinding it out. The other thing is, I thought we passed up shots in the first half. Can't play that way. You got to play. Every team that plays this, you ready? They have nothing to lose. Everybody. They have nothing to lose. Well, you got to play that way. You got to play like you have nothing to lose. Or you're at a disadvantage every game you play.
Just the energy level, that we have. We need to pick it up. And we said that in the locker room for sure. Like, our energy level kind of low. And, just keep competing out there.
And with that victory, Kentucky would improve to 5-2 on the season.
Well, Sarah, you're exactly right. Through 7 games, they're now 5-2, but it looks like they might be starting to get things together.
Yeah, and that's what we thought. However, what we saw against Bellarmine told us differently. The way they looked in the first half, their offense was very stagnant, and they were tied with Bellarmine 21 at the half. So if they play like that against Michigan, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, sorry to say, but I think you're right. What's your prediction for the game? Do you have one?
Well, we just saw that Michigan took Virginia down to the wire. So I think this is going to be another close game for the Cats.
All right. Well, coming up, all sports writers on the Kentucky Beat. You'll be interested to hear what they have to say about the Cats this season.
We're talking a lot about the offense. Their defense hasn't been very good.
Why wait until later for local news? See it here first on Good Afternoon Kentucky, your only local news at 3 p.m. Weekdays on ABC 36. Good Afternoon Kentucky, news and weather on your schedule.
Kentucky sports fans are looking for someone who loves the game as much as they do. Someone who can tell them their stories about their hometown players, because sports is about pride. I'm ABC 36 Sports Director Jeff Pecoro, and I am Kentucky Sports.
I go all out for the holidays, but this year I'm actually getting rewarded for it. I earn 3 points on every purchase when I use my card from Commonwealth Credit Union. Now that's something to celebrate.
During our holiday celebration, you can earn 3 points on every purchase with my card as you fill up your sleigh. Plus, use your credit or debit card with your mobile wallet for your chance to win $500. Non-purchase entries are available and have an equal chance of winning. But hurry, this celebration ends December 31st. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
This is where worry turns into relief, where confusion turns into answers. This is where your family can turn to the experts for the big things and the little things. Extraordinary care is right here. UK Healthcare, the power of advanced medicine.
Get cash for your car today.
We'll buy your car the easy way right here at Courtesy.
We'll beat any written offer by $300.
Bring your vehicle and your title to Courtesy's Car Buying Center.
And we'll show you the money.
And that's what we like to call...
It's CMA Country Christmas. Gather the family as country music's biggest stars perform your favorite holiday songs.
Merry Christmas!
Carly Pierce hosts CMA Country Christmas, Thursday, December 8th on ABC.
When it feels good, waking up, and you got more than coffee filling up your cup. Great way to wake up. I like it, gonna be another great day to wake up. I'm up and wide awake. It's a great way to wake up, and I like it. It's a great way to wake up, and I like it. It's a great way to wake up.
The Solid Blue pregame show is sponsored by Commonwealth Credit Union.
Welcome back to Solid Blue Preview Show. I'm Jeff Pecoro, and let me introduce the guys to my left here, a panel of distinguished journalists. From my left, John Clay from the Lexington Herald-Leader. In the middle is a guy that a lot of you follow on all these social platforms. That's Kyle Tucker. He's now with The Athletic. And, of course, Mark Story, also from the Herald-Leader. And, guys, we're just going to freeform this. But I do want to start with Kyle because he was actually in the Bahamas. So we all watched it, and we saw this Kentucky team obliterate the opponents there. Why was it so easy there, and why has it been so tough when the season started?
Well, there's a few reasons. One, I think that's a no-pressure situation. Sure. It is a free-flowing. There wasn't a lot of game planning on either side. I mean, I don't think any of the opponents were exactly. They didn't know what they were dealing with. They weren't exactly slicing and dicing Kentucky from an X and O standpoint. You're just kind of letting your athletes play, and that's part of it. Two, the level of competition. I mean, I would say those teams are on par or worse than the four non-major opponents that we've seen Kentucky play already. I mean, and Kentucky in the regular season has blown out lower level competition.
How big of a difference was it with Sheboy out, with running the offense and the way it really, you went kind of with a smaller lineup in those first two games?
Well, I mean, obviously, he's the reigning National Player of the Year, so it's going to be a difference. Obviously, you're not going to get those numbers as far as points and rebounds, especially. And obviously, that's going to disrupt some of your flow in your offense. And we came back for the Michigan State game, put up good numbers in the Michigan State game, but I'm not sure he was the Oscar that we had seen before, just in his all-around game. So obviously, it's better to have Oscar than to not have Oscar. My only question with Oscar is, I mean, he had such a great year last year. Can he repeat that? Can he do it again? Opposing coaches have had a year to look at the tape and say, maybe we can do this against him, maybe we can do that. And there's areas of his game that he needs to improve. Or let's face it, he'd be in the NBA right now instead of waiting to be a second, going last year and being a late first round, early second round pick. So those are the things I think we got to watch with Oscar this year.
Mark, your thoughts?
Well, to me, the thing they've got to do, they've got to make some shots. If you look at how they've shot from beyond the arc against the big teams, I think they're a combined 13 of 50. I think C.J. Frederick has been 1 of 6 in both games. I think Antonio Reeves was like 1 of 3 against Michigan State and then 2 of 7 against Gonzaga. Those guys are going to have to make shots going forward. And, the other thing that I thought was interesting, Kyle asked Severe Wheeler after the Michigan State game. I thought late in the game, part of the problem with the late game execution was everybody was just sort of standing around waiting for Oscar to do something. And Severe didn't like the question, no, he didn't. But I thought it was an interesting point because obviously if you have the reigning National Player of the Year, you're going to play through him if you can, but everybody else has to play too. And there wasn't anybody really stepping up to make plays at the end of that Michigan State game.
When you have the talent level that this team has, most of these guys are 4- and 5-star athletes, and you look at it, and I know a lot of people say, well, St. Peter's didn't have 4 and 5 stars, and lower teams that you see around the country don't, and they still succeed. But when you have that, does one guy have to be the alpha dog? I mean, is there a Jamal Mashburn? Is there a picking order, on each team, or how do you do that in those late game situations?
Well, I think you do want a guy to be able to take over. I think that's it's an important thing to have. It's a nice safety net to have. But I think when it's obvious who that guy is and it's your only option, and he's a big guy with limited offensive skill. I mean, for all the talk about he's going to step out and be a shooter and shoot threes, he still doesn't have a college three-point attempt in his career. He's not that guy. I mean, there's a certain set of skills, like Liam Neeson might say. I have a particular set of skills that Oscar brings to the table. And if you can't just throw it into him and get out of the way, which they've tried to do a lot, well, what else is there? Who else is going to step up? And it can't just be, I think what we've seen too is there's a reason. I don't think these guys become worse shooters because they're playing good teams. I think good teams make it harder to get good shots.
Right. I think Antonio Reeves, I think you saw in the Michigan State game, was kind of a wake-up call for him. It's a lot harder to get your shots against Michigan State, a Michigan State defense, than it is against the conference he played in before when he was at Illinois State. But to go back to your question, I think Cal's got to adjust. He's got to tweak things in his offense to get those guys good open shots. The other thing, kind of flip side of this, I think we're talking a lot about the offense. Their defense hasn't been very good. I mean, the thing that kind of went under the radar in the Gonzaga game is Gonzaga shot 55% in that game. Everybody talked about Kentucky's offensive problems. The late game breakdowns of Michigan State were mainly on the defensive end. Right. They scored off the inbounds pass. They let it at the end of regulation. Michigan State did, and then at the end of the first overtime, they scored on a drive, driving a dunk off a drive. Cal's team, his best teams have always been good defensive teams, especially good help side defensive teams. They know how to play together defensively. That's another thing I think to watch with this team. We haven't talked a lot about it, but I think they're a little behind on the defensive end.
Because for all the focus last year on the so-called outmoded offense, the defense was what killed them. The defense is what got them beat by St. Peter's, and the defense killed them down the stretch. They could not stay in front of guards.
You look at what Kentucky is and what it does, and it's always been this way. You go to Alaska, you go to the Bahamas, you go to Maui, you go to London, you go to Vegas, you go to Chicago, you go to Indy, you go to all these places. What does that do? It puts you in the forefront for recruiting. And this upcoming class is ridiculous. Best class in the history of the school?
Even though Kentucky's classes the last few years are ranked really high, they haven't been quite the same level of elite-type players that they got the first few years that Cal was here. That seems to get back to it with more of an emphasis on Cal on recruiting and getting those top elite players in the coming class. How good they turn out to be, we'll see. I'm like Mark, I'm not sure. I'm ready to rank them with the Anthony Davis class or some of the other classes that he's gotten.
You can only recruit what is available. And of the available talent pool, he went out and got the number 1 player, the number 2 player, the number 4 player, and the number 8 player, and then the star in-state Reed Shepard, who you needed to keep home. Even more significantly, you've got DJ Wagner locked up for his whole life, and then Kenny Payne gets hired at Louisville, and Kenny Payne hires the kid's grandfather, and you assume you're cooked, and you still get it. You win a key battle there, overcoming a significant, detriment. Tennessee had taken Justin Edwards away from Kentucky because he didn't feel prioritized, and Tennessee made him a priority. They were the leader. Cal took over his recruitment, and it was over. He came to Kentucky. Rob Dillingham originally committed somewhere else, and they got him. Aaron Bradshaw was all but done, I think, to the G League, and that's $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 paycheck. Right. And they were able to convince him, hey, you can do that just as well here, and this is a better environment for you to develop. Winning those recruits, that's 4 legitimate major threats that were coming from somewhere else, and you won them all. That part is old school Calipari, and I think that's why this class is significant.
Guys, we could have done the whole hour with the 3 of us. I appreciate it. John, Kyle, Mark, thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be back with more with us.
Looking for tips for your jump shot? Watch the Cats. Looking for the best business banking partner? That's us.
That's right. We know banking and focus on delivering your business value with our triple threat. Experienced bankers.
The best technology to keep your finances secure.
Most importantly, our commitment to you. Make the switch to happier banking for you and your business. Go Cats.
Right now at Rally's, buy 1 Big Buford, get a second one for just $1. It's like a movie with a sequel as good as the original. Except in this movie, the hero is made of perfectly seasoned 100% beef. And stacked with melty American cheese and the perfect toppings, all for just another $1. Spoiler alert, the sequel is equally delicious and just $1 more. Buy 1, get 1 for $1 Big Bufords. You've earned it. Get Rally's delivered through our rewards app.
A Medicare Advantage plan should come with all the benefits you want and 0 compromises. With Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, it can. Just go to anthem.com/answers or call 855-753-3042 for a free one-on-one Medicare plan review. Ask about our $0 monthly premium plans that include dental, vision, and hearing coverage, along with transportation, a gym membership, and $0 copay for prescriptions, all for 0 extra cost. Plus, you could be eligible for extra benefits to help you save even more. We have plans with up to $2,600 a year to help you pay for over-the-counter health items, groceries, and living expenses like cell phone, electric, or water bills, all on a single prepaid MasterCard you can use at thousands of locations nationwide. Call Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield at 855-753-3042 or visit anthem.com/answers and get a Medicare plan with 0 compromises for you and your wallet.
We've got exciting news.
Commonwealth Credit Union has been ranked best in-state credit union by Forbes magazine.
For the 4th time. It's true.
In fact, we're number 1 on the list this year.
So, if you've never tried Commonwealth Credit Union before, come see what you've been missing. Because here,
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 Here, we see you differently.
The Solid Blue pregame show is sponsored by Fork Bank.
Welcome back to our Solid Blue preview. Assistant coach Orlando Antigua has over 20 years of college coaching experience and is a proven recruiter, tireless on-court developer, and a relationship-driven coach both on and off the court. We had a chance to sit down with the coach to talk about his second stint on the UK bench and his thoughts on this year's Cats. So for you, a return trip to London, but for the players, how cool is it to be is that kind of something that might draw them to the University of Kentucky?
I think amongst the many things that would draw them, obviously the kind of schedule that we play. It just so happens that this year it's going to be played on foreign soil, but the quality of the competition that we're going up against is more importantly, which is more why players would come.
All right, let's talk about this year's team. You start off in the Bahamas. You go down there, and was no competition. You guys really played well. Then you get the break, you come back, and then you have to start the season without Oscar. How much difference was that team from the Bahamas than when you guys started the season?
Our plays were geared to playing through him and how the spacing was going to be. And so when you're missing that big piece, there's an adjustment period. The other part to the adjustment period is you're talking about Oscar having been away for 3 or 4 weeks. There's a lot that happens in those 3 or 4 weeks in practices, even though you're sitting there watching plays, the timing. We had to scheme differently. And so you get them added back to the team, and then you got to get everybody reacquainted, get re-going. And so it's been important for us these last 4 or 5 practices to get that rhythm back. And, he comes back in, and he's practiced for maybe 2 days, and then his first game is Michigan State. That's a hard one to jump into, but we needed him. We needed him to get that going. And, for our guys to get back into seeing him out there as well and him doing what he does. And so it's been a progression. Now we're trying to get back to where everybody's fully healthy. Obviously, Damien going through what he was going through, and some other guys having the little knickknacks, which is going to happen during the season. But now you get everybody back and together, and you start to get back into a sync.
Oh, this is a totally different team that you guys have ever had before. I mean, even the first time you were here, now the second, you've got Oscar, the reigning national champion, player of the year, senior. You've got CJ, another 4-year player. You've got Reeves, another 4-year player. Then the guys returning who are sophomores and juniors to this team. This might be the most experienced team they've ever had here. Does that make you coach differently? And what's the difference between having 7 or 8 freshmen that you're having to teach everything to having that experience?
Well, having the experience is great because they have game experience, right? Now, they still have to have the chemistry that they need to have in terms of playing with one another, which is all new to all of them, right? And including the freshmen. And that's something that when we have had the freshman-heavy classes, they all have to go through the whole experience of that. Now, there's some nuances of the game that we don't have to teach those older guys because they've played in 60, 70 college games. So they understand when we talk about the baseline rotation, when we talk about playing, being in position off the ball, and those kind of things, crack up and crack downs when the big goes to go shot block, the guard's responsibility to come down and crack down and box out. So those things they understand. For high school kids, they're used to being, the kids that are coming to us, they're used to being the best player on their team and everybody adjusting around them. Now they have to come in and be sacrifice for one another, be a piece of what the team needs them to be. So they've got to learn all that with the speed of the game, with the physicality of the game now at another level. So it's a little different. The beauty of having some guys that have had that experience is that you don't have to teach all that.
You've lost a couple of games against some marquee-type teams. What has this team learned, and what can you use from those going forward?
Okay, there's a lot of things that we need to tighten up on, and it's a marathon, all right? Nobody's winning anything in November. So we need to go ahead and continue to get better and work every day, and gives us some video and some teaching moments that we can utilize in live, high-level games that at the end of the season, you want to be playing in those games, and you want to be able to say we've learned from those earlier games.
The depth of this team, how does that compare to maybe some of those teams you've seen in the past where you could almost bring in another 5, a whole nother?
You want to have depth because throughout the season you're going to have injuries, you're going to have foul trouble. You have all these other obstacles that come into play, and you never want to find yourself shorthanded. And I think we've built a team that way that we have that kind of depth and that kind of versatility. To play different styles. We can play really big, and you put Jacob at the 3, and Damien at the 4, and Oscar at the 5. You can play really small. You can put Damien at the 5, Jacob at the 4. You can put Lance. So you got a variety of ways that you can play against different matchups.
A couple of final questions. You brought in 2 guys that were great shooters at other schools, at CJ and at Reeves. How much does that open things up inside, especially the way they've been hitting early in the season?
It's important. I mean, you can see how schematically teams are going to try to play when you have a fully healthy Oscar in with those guys spreading the court. It's going to allow him the room to operate in the paint. If they're not out there, then it becomes a little more tighter. They can help. They can try to trap, and makes life difficult for Oscar in there. And so when they start taking away the three, then the inside game could play. When they start trying to take away the inside game, then those guys can get free and make some shots for us. And it's great for our spacing.
Finally, you come to UK to play in games like this, to go on a national stage. How are they? Are they excited about going over there? Are they excited? I'm sure maybe none of them have been there. You have.
Yeah. I don't think many of them have been, if any of them have been over there. And quite honestly, for us, it's the next game that's on the schedule. It just happens to be we have to take a little longer flight. But, and we approach it that way. It's the next game. No one game is more than another game, because it's the next game that we have to try to go out and be better than the opposing team so that we can come out with a win.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff. All right.
Stick around. What are your thoughts on how Oscar Tshiebwe would match up with Melvin Turpin? Kenny Walker has some thoughts later in our show. But next, Chris Bolton takes a look at UK's opponent, the Michigan Wolverines.
Looking for tips for your jump shot? Watch the Cats. Looking for the best business banking partner? That's us.
That's right. We know banking and focus on delivering your business value with our triple threat. Experienced bankers.
The best technology to keep your finances secure.
Most importantly, our commitment to you. Make the switch to happier banking for you and your business. Go Cats.
Get cash for your car today.
We'll buy your car the easy way right here at Courtesy.
We'll beat any written offer by $300.
Bring your vehicle and your title to Courtesy's Car Buying Center.
And we'll show you the money.
And that's what we like to call...
This Friday on ABC 36 News at noon, it's a Sevierville, Tennessee tourism takeover. Join Doug and Lisa High and find out all you need to know if you're planning a trip to the Smokies this holiday season. ABC 36 News at noon, this Friday from Sevierville, Tennessee.
I'm Jeff Pecoro.
I'm Chris Bolton.
And I'm Sarah Cardona.
You'll be seeing a lot of us on ABC 36 News.
At your local games.
And those big games we wait for all year.
We're fans first, but reporting is what we do best. We report Central Kentucky sports from the high school games to the biggest moments in sports across Kentucky. Tune in and see all the exciting changes on ABC 36.
Experience Traditional Bank's Christmas at Mustard Seed Hill in Millersburg, Kentucky. Enjoy the stunning Christmas lights, listen to live music, reserve your own Christmas campfire, shop the Artisans Market, and view the incredible gingerbread houses Thursday through Sunday nights. Christmas at Mustard Seed Hill is a magical holiday experience for the whole family. Make sure to purchase your tickets online. Don't wait. Tickets are limited. Come visit from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. December 1st through December 23rd. View our website and Facebook for more details. It's Traditional Bank's Christmas at Mustard Seed Hill.
When it feels good, waking up, and you got more than coffee filling up your cup. Great way to wake up, I like it, gonna be another great day to wake up. I'm up and wide awake. It's a great way to wake up, and I like it. It's a great way to wake up, and I like it. It's a great way to wake up.
The Solid Blue pregame show is sponsored by UK Healthcare.
It's time now for us to take a look at the Michigan Wolverines. Through the first month of the season, 7 games, they have the exact same record as Kentucky at 5-2 under their former All-American Juwan Howard as their head coach. And let's bring in Chris Bolton to break it down a little bit further. And Chris, this team is coming off a tough loss to Virginia, the number 3 team in the country. They led most of the way and let it slip away at the end.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean, I'm not a Michigan fan. Even that loss hurt me. My goodness. But those are the kind of games you want to play as you gear up and get ready for conference play. Then ultimately, you want to make an NCAA tournament run. But let's go back to game 1 to see how Michigan got to this point in the season. Michigan has definitely been in some battles to start the season, but game 1 wasn't much of one. The Wolverines' first game was a comfortable win against Purdue Fort Wayne. Michigan won 75-56, led by their star big man, senior center Hunter Dickinson. He had 22 points and 12 rebounds in the game. Plus, he picked up his 1,000th career point, which goes to show just how important he has been to this team's success over the years. An early 22-2 run in the first half really set the tone for Michigan's performance, giving them a win in the season opener. Then in Game 2, the Wolverines took on former five-star recruit Memphis transfer Imani Bates and Eastern Michigan. The Eagles pushed the 22nd-ranked Wolverines to the brink. Behind the stud transfer, he put up a team-high 30 points in the game, where Eastern Michigan led by as much as 8 points in the second half. But again, Michigan's anchor, Hunter Dickinson, came through clutch, dropping the game-high 31 points, and the Wolverines come from behind 88-83 win.
Our guys did an amazing job of just having that mental stability when the runs were in Eastern Michigan favor. We were down. We could have easily just folded, and we didn't.
Off to a 2-0 start, the Wolverines hit the road to Brooklyn, New York, to play in the Legends Classic. In Game 1, Michigan matched up with Pittsburgh and left that game with a convincing victory. A game in which the team had arguably their best performance of the season. Michigan won 91-60 over the Panthers. The Wolverines had 4 players in double figures. Coach Howard's son, freshman guard Jet Howard, had his breakout game as a Wolverine, leading the team in scoring with 17 points. The next night, Michigan went up against Arizona State and suffered their first loss of the season. The Sun Devils won by 25 points in a game where Michigan struggled from the field, shooting only 34%. The Vols carried over to the three-point line, where the Wolverines shot only 18% from distance. The Wolverines returned home to Ann Arbor to take on a tough, physical Ohio team that played in the NCAA tournament last season. Michigan learned just how tough of an out the Bobcats were, winning in an overtime battle against them 70-66.
Sometimes where it's not going to go as some people may think it should go as far as these blowout wins, but you got to give respect to your opponent. They deserve to do in the game today. They're well coached and they play hard.
Next up was a date with Jackson State University. The Wolverines won, but it wasn't easy. Michigan had to scratch and claw for a 10-point win. Again, freshman guard Jet Howard showing that he's the real deal, leading Michigan in scoring with 19 points in this one. The win gave Michigan a 5-1 record heading into the ACC Big Ten Challenge, where Michigan went against third-ranked Virginia. A game in which Michigan held a commanding 11-point lead at halftime ends with the Wolverines losing a nail-biter 70-68. The Cavaliers went on a 14-5 run to start the second half to climb back in the game before holding on to the lead late. After the game, Coach Howard showed confidence in his team moving forward as they prepare to play Kentucky.
Take away a lot of really good things that happened in this ball game. But we come out with the effort that we did today, 40 minutes. I love our chances versus any college team in the country.
Hey, thanks a lot, Chris. But you know what? We really don't know a whole lot about Michigan. It's a team that plays in the Big Ten. Kentucky's in the SEC. Who should we be looking out for?
You should look out for the big man, senior Hunter Dickinson. He is the real deal. He was a monster last season in the NCAA tournament. Then we have the coach's son. You always got to look out for the coach's son. Jet Howard, he's the real deal as well. 6'8", has a nice shot.
All right. And when we come back, you also got to talk to a guy who knows a little bit about Michigan, C.J. Frederick, right?
Speaking of nice shots, he has one.
All right. So stay with us. Chris and C.J. Frederick coming up next.
I go all out for the holidays, but this year I'm actually getting rewarded for it. I earn 3 points on every purchase when I use my card from Commonwealth Credit Union. Now that's something to celebrate.
During our holiday celebration, you can earn 3 points on every purchase with My Card as you fill up your sleigh. Plus, use your credit or debit card with your mobile wallet for your chance to win $500. Non-purchase entries are available and have an equal chance of winning. But hurry, this celebration ends December 31st. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
This is where worry turns into relief, where confusion turns into answers, This is where your family can turn to the experts for the big things and the little things. Extraordinary care is right here. UK Healthcare, the power of advanced medicine.
It's a fact. 2 out of 3 Americans who qualify for Medicare do not receive all the benefits they deserve. You could be missing out. Now, Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield introduces a free Medicare plan checkup to make sure you receive all the benefits you qualify for in 2023. Call 1-800-878-5180 today and receive extra benefits for a $0 monthly premium. Benefits like dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs. And to help you stay healthy at home, you can have free prescription drug delivery, online doctor visits 24/7, and free exercise classes. You can even receive money towards over-the-counter health items. Call 1-800-878-5180 today and feel confident you have all the benefits you deserve for 2023. You can receive extra benefits for a $0 monthly premium like dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs. Call 1-800-878-5180 and make sure you're not missing out.
Looking for tips for your jump shot? Watch the Cats. Looking for the best business banking partner? That's us.
That's right. We know banking and focus on delivering your business value with our triple threat.
Experienced bankers.
The best technology to keep your finances secure.
Most importantly, our commitment to you. Make the switch to happier banking for you and your business. Go Cats.
The Solid Blue pregame show is sponsored by Commonwealth Credit Union.
Kentucky native C.J. Frederick started his career at Iowa, but now he's at Kentucky, and our Chris Bolton sits down with him and talks basketball.
Kentucky guard C.J. Frederick has always been a baller, even dating back to his days in high school at Covington Catholic outside of Cincinnati, Ohio. But even back then, the Kentucky Gatorade Player of the Year faced some adversity.
My sophomore year, we were top 5 in the state and lost in the regional championship, and we got a lot of crap for that. And then my junior year, we were again top 2 teams in the state and lost in the regional championship again. So there was always, we had felt a lot of heat just kind of around the area and even at our own school. And then that senior year, we were just nearly had like a perfect season and then won a state championship. So it was all the work we had put in, all the adversity we had, it just felt like sweeter to, go out with a state championship in Rupp Arena and to do that with my best friends. That was definitely probably one of my favorite memories in high school.
CJ went on to play ball at the University of Iowa. With the level of play increasing, so did the adversity he faced. CJ suffered injuries to his ribs and foot during his time as a Hawkeye.
It's been tough. When you're in season, you have a bunch of things lingering. You never really, I never allowed myself to get down. I would always look at, okay, this is what I'm trying to get back to. I'm trying to get back to playing. So I never really allowed myself to be like, man, I feel bad for myself. This sucks. It was always, okay, what do I got to do to get back and play again?
After transferring to Kentucky, CJ was ready to ball, but suffered another setback when he was unable to play the entire 2021-2022 season due to a leg injury. Going an entire year without the game he loves was a reality check he wasn't expecting to cash upon arrival.
The toughest part was the disconnect. I felt just I didn't feel like I was a basketball player anymore. And I kind of felt that same thing. My family would always text me and say things like, man, we miss watching you. And because me playing basketball has brought a lot of excitement to my family, and everyone gets together and watches game and comes to Rupp, and they're like, man, we're not gonna be able to come to Rupp till next year. So it definitely did. It did suck.
During this difficult time, CJ was able to lean on one person more than anybody as he worked hard to get back on the court.
My dad, he didn't miss a day. He called me every day, texted me every day, and I'm sure there were days where I was annoyed by that, but just to see him call me and give me motivational things, and so I would say my dad for sure.
The senior guard is now back hooping for the Cats. So far this season, he's averaging 10 points a game and shooting 36% from the three-point line. CJ's message for anyone who is bouncing back after a setback is to attack.
I get to wake up and play the game I love. I get to come in and practice and prepare to play again. I didn't have that feeling for a whole year, and I know how badly that hurt. So it's that aspect of not taking anything for granted, not taking a day for granted.
Coming up next, who would you take? The Twin Towers team of 1984 or this year's Wildcat squad?
Looking for tips for your jump shot? Watch the Cats. Looking for the best business banking partner? That's us.
That's right. We know banking and focus on delivering your business value with our triple threat.
Experienced bankers.
The best technology to keep your finances secure.
Most importantly, our commitment to you. Make the switch to happier banking for you and your business. Go Cats.
Central Kentucky's best classic rock. Classic Rock 92.1. Live and local with Max Corona, Beerman, Dead Air Dennis, and Misty Dawn. Playing the fewest commercials and Kentucky's best classic rock. Classic Rock 92.1.
Why wait until later for local news? See it here first on Good Afternoon Kentucky, your only local news at 3 p.m. Weekdays on ABC 36. Good Afternoon Kentucky. News and weather on your schedule.
Hi, I'm Jeff Pecoro, the new sports director here at ABC 36 News. I know from experience from playing UK football and for broadcasting for the Reds for decades. Sports is all about heart, giving it all and leaving it all on the field. We report Central Kentucky sports from the high school games to the biggest moments in sports across Kentucky. We are major Kentucky sports fans. And let me tell you, there is nothing like reporting for your home teams. That's our commitment to you.
When I gave birth to my daughter, I started hemorrhaging.
After being diagnosed with cancer, I needed surgery and chemotherapy.
I was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia as a baby.
I needed a blood transfusion.
I needed multiple transfusions.
I've needed many transfusions.
The Kentucky Blood Center saves lives by facilitating donations locally.
A blood donor saved my life.
A blood donor saved my life.
A blood donor saved my mom's life.
Spectacular sights on holiday nights. The Southern Lights are on.
Celebrate the season nightly at the Kentucky Horse Park. Now through December 31st. Excludes Christmas Day.
Spectacular sights on holiday nights.
Over 1 million twinkling lights will dazzle your family. Be sure to leave time to visit the all-new Holiday Village.
Presented by Friends of Coal. Don't miss it.
The Southern Lights are on.
Happy holidays, everybody.
The Solid Blue pregame show is sponsored by Fork Bank.
Welcome back to Solid Blue Preview. I'm Jeff Pecoro, and I am joined now by a guy that really needs no introduction here in Lexington, Kenny Skywalker. And Kenny, it's so great to have you in here. Let's talk a little basketball, man. We went to school together. We got to play a lot with each other. And I think that's a key now. When you look at what John Calipari's done since he's been here, a lot of these guys come in, they're here 5 or 6 months, and they're gone. The one-and-done guys. Mm-hmm. You guys were a little different. You guys stuck around at least 3 years, and you got that real camaraderie and kind of family feel to you, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely. And, of course, it's a whole lot different today, as you said, with the one-and-dones. But, boy, I really loved my 4 years. I stayed off 4 years of college. I thought about leaving after my junior year, but, boy, the friendships that I made, the camaraderie that we had on the court. Roger Harden and I came in as freshmen. We played together all 4 years. And I wouldn't have scored near as many points as I did in my career if I didn't have that guy that knew how to get me to, the basketball. So the chemistry and the friendships that you develop on and off the court, those are the things that I think helps, win championships and bonds with your brothers on the team, because you have relationships on and off the court. And that's very difficult to do. As you said, in just a few months on campus.
Kenny, and you played with some great players. I mean, Sam was one. Could Sam have been a one-and-done, or did he need that development at the college level?
Yeah, people don't realize just how great Sam Bowie was before the injury. When Sam Bowie came in as a freshman, I think he averaged, 16, 17 points a game, and he had an outstanding sophomore year until he got hurt a few games towards the end. He was the Anthony Davis of that time. He was a 7'2" guy that could run, jump, shoot, block shots, had the athletic ability, could run the court, could literally do it all. I think so much of Sam because he came back from the injuries and he missed a couple of years, but he was around practice and everything. And when he came back to our team, even though he wasn't Sam Bowie of old, boy, he was still good enough to lead us to the Final Four. And one of my biggest regrets is 1984. That team should have won a championship, and Sam Bowie was a big part of that.
So we're a month into the season now. Kentucky's got a couple losses in their two biggest games, Michigan State and Gonzaga. You play the start of the season without Oscar and without Shabir. They're back. Collins is now back from his. What do you see with this team? What was missing before, and do they have what it takes? Is there that it factor, I guess, that they can make a long run?
Well, they certainly have the talent. I think what they got to do now is they got to develop that timing and that chemistry that you need to be successful as a team. And I'll be honest, they don't have it now. The offense doesn't look good. Everything is a little off because these guys haven't played together in a while. Even though they did play back in the summer over in the Bahamas, we're talking about within the last couple of months. So I will hate to say be patient because we're never patient with UK basketball. But I do think some of the other guys need to step up. It's going to need to be a collective effort from the coaches and the players. But ultimately, it's up to Calipari to try to figure out what combinations, work the best so we can maximize everybody's potential on the team.
Ken, I want to do something here that I don't ever like to say compare this team to your team or anything like that. But let's do this. Your team is getting ready to play this year's team. How do you all, your team, how would you defend this team, and who would take you? What would you do with Oscar?
Boy, I tell you, hopefully you're talking about my 1984 team with
Big Melvin,
with Big Mel and Sam and those guys. Well, I think matchup-wise, based on our abilities, I think Big Mel will probably start out on Oscar, and I think because Melvin is mobile, 6'11", almost 7 feet tall, and Oscar is a wonderful player. Big Mel is one of the most underrated, underappreciated players in the history, maybe of Kentucky basketball. That matchup might be somewhat even, and now you got maybe Sam Bowie going against
who guards Sam?
Collins or somebody like that. That will probably be the matchup, and of course Sam Bowie 7'2", unbelievable player. Went through the injuries. We know that, but still was a great player. I like Sam in that matchup. And then you're talking about me against Toppin. Now, for me personally, I was a great player and had a lot of athletic ability. I really admire that kid. I think he needs to stop trying to prove to the NBA that three-point shot. Look for that 15-footer.
Just do what you do, right?
Get in transition, attack the basket. I think he's settling a little bit too much for, jump shots and stuff like that. But that would be a great matchup. And then when you're looking at guard play, we had Dickie Bill, one of the fastest, most electric players on the court and ever play at UK, going against Wheeler. Boy, Dickie in the open court, that was fun. That's the reason why I ran so hard. That matchup would be tough. So. And then Jim Masters, going against Frederick or Reeves or whatever. I think Jim, in a lot of ways, was underrated and underappreciated as well. The way that I think we would give them problems is that we were a great defensive team.
I was just going to say that.
And we blocked shots, we rebounded, we got in the open court. And contrary to what everybody might think about Joe B. Hall, we ran a whole lot more, and we were exciting. We were throwing lob passes and getting out on the break and everything. We score a lot of points in transition, and I think that's the area that I think that we're a little bit better than the Calipari's teams, especially this team, because they're a very good team. They're an experienced team. It'll be a tough matchup, but I think the fact that we protect the rim and we get out and go, I think that will be the difference.
You and I talked a little bit, and I looked up some stuff about your team's you guys averaged almost 80 points every game. I
And
mean, you know.
Yeah, and this is pre-shot clock, era. And so we didn't have the shot clock, and we didn't have the three-point shot, as well. So culturally, the game was starting to change at that point. But I thought for that particular time, the Blue Bloods, Indiana, Kansas, North Carolina, Duke was starting to be on the rise. Kentucky was, right there with, all of those programs in terms of recruiting, style of play, facilities. We were second to none. When you came here, you wanted to be a part of the big Blue Nation, and that's what we are, and we still are to this day.
Final question for you. For this team to make a run, yes, playing together a lot, but to me, and I hope you agree, defense is what's going to carry them deep in the tournament, right? Yeah. Is that what they have to get better at?
When you look at most, not just Cal teams, but all the history of any program, the great teams are really the great defensive teams. That team of 2012 with Anthony Davis, I mean, they had some great players. A lot of guys played in the NBA, but that team was so good defensively, and Anthony Davis was a big part of that, by protecting the rim. But he wasn't the only one. You had Darius Miller, you had Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. You had a lot of guys that could really, lock you down. You had Terrence Jones, DeRon Lamb. That's what you need in order to get to the Final Four, have a chance to win a championship. And I think the last, 3 or 4 years, that type of talent here at Kentucky has fallen off slightly, to have the guys that can control the tempo of the game, even though their offense is not there some nights, because they're so good defensively. But this team was with Toppin, Collins, Oscar should be a better defensive player. Our guards should be a little bit better than what they're playing so far. Once they get their defense down, I think they have a legitimate chance to win the championship, regardless of how the offense looks, because defense will always keep you in games.
Perfect. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming out, man.
Yeah, no, that's no problem.
Have a great holiday.
No problem at all.
I go all out for the holidays, but this year I'm actually getting rewarded for it. I earn 3 points on every purchase when I use my card from Commonwealth Credit Union. Now that's something to celebrate.
During our holiday celebration, you can earn 3 points on every purchase with my card as you fill up your sleigh. Plus, use your credit or debit card with your mobile wallet for your chance to win $500. Non-purchase entries are available and have an equal chance of winning. But hurry, this celebration ends December 31st. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
It's a fact. 2 out of 3 Americans who qualify for Medicare do not receive all the benefits they deserve. You could be missing out. Now, Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield introduces a free Medicare plan checkup to make sure you receive all the benefits you qualify for in 2023. Call 1-800-878-5180 today and receive extra benefits for a $0 monthly premium. Benefits like dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs. And to help you stay healthy at home, you can have free prescription drug delivery, online doctor visits 24/7, and free exercise classes. You can even receive money towards over-the-counter health items. Call 1-800-878-5180 today and feel confident you have all the benefits you deserve for 2023. You can receive extra benefits for a $0 monthly premium, like dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs. Call 1-800-878-5180 and make sure you're not missing out.
Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee.
This Friday on ABC 36 News at noon, it's a Sevierville, Tennessee tourism takeover. Join Doug and Lisa High and find out all you need to know if you're planning a trip to the Smokies this holiday season. ABC 36 News at noon, this Friday from Sevierville, Tennessee.
I'm Jeff Pecoro.
I'm Chris Bolton.
And I'm Sarah Cardona.
You'll be seeing a lot of us on ABC 36 News.
At your local games.
And those big games we wait for all year.
We're fans first, but reporting is what we do best. We report Central Kentucky sports from the high school games to the biggest moments in sports across Kentucky. Tune in and see all the exciting changes on ABC 36.
I'm Chief Meteorologist T.G. Shuck for Solid Blue fans. Curious about how the weather looks as the fans exit O2 Arena in London, 8 p.m. local time after the game. Cloudy skies, chilly, 5 degrees Celsius. That's 42 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, that's it. We hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Jeff Picoro, and thank you for watching. For Kenny Walker, Orlando Antigua, Kyle Tucker, John Clay, Mark Story, and, of course, Chris and Sarah, enjoy the game. The Wildcats and the Wolverines coming up next right here on ABC 36.